Let me ask you a powerful question. Have you ever seen an organization hitting all its targets, delivering strong results, celebrating performance, but somehow employees are disengaged, decisions feel uncomfortable, and people are afraid to speak up? That is usually the first sign of a toxic corporate culture. Because companies don't collapse overnight, they collapse slowly, decision by decision, compromise by compromise. A toxic culture doesn't begin with scandals. It begins with pressure. It grows with silence. And it spreads when leadership ignores warning signs. In this video, we're going to unpack something extremely important: how toxic corporate culture quietly destroys companies, damages reputations, and pushes good professionals into making poor decisions. Because whether you are an employee, a manager, an HR professional, or a business leader, culture affects you. And more importantly, you shape culture every day. Culture is one of the most misunderstood concepts in organizations. Many people think culture is the company values on the wall, the mission statement, or the employee handbook. But culture is none of those things. Culture is behavior. Culture is decisions. Culture is what happens when no one is watching. Let me explain. If a company says safety first, but rewards speed over safety, the real culture is speed. If a company says people matter, but tolerates disrespectful leaders, the real culture is performance over people. Culture is not what organizations declare. Culture is what they tolerate. And this is why culture is powerful. Because it shapes how people think, act, and make decisions under pressure. Corporate culture is the shared mindset that guides how work gets done. It influences how leaders lead, how teams collaborate, how decisions are made, how problems are handled, and how performance is achieved. Let's take a practical example. In a healthy culture, when something goes wrong, employees escalate early. In a toxic culture, employees hide problems. In a healthy culture, leaders ask, "Is this ethical?" In a toxic culture, leaders ask, "Did we hit the target?" Corporate culture flows from leadership to managers to supervisors to frontline staff, which means even the most junior employee reflects the organization's culture. Culture is not hierarchical. Culture is contagious. A toxic corporate culture is one where results are valued more than how those results are achieved. It is a culture where people are afraid to speak, shortcuts are tolerated, pressure overrides judgment, and leadership looks the other way. Toxic cultures often disguise themselves as high-performance cultures. You hear statements like, "We just need to deliver, do whatever it takes, results matter most." These statements sound harmless, but over time, they create an environment where ethics become optional. And once ethics become optional, risk becomes inevitable. You can recognize toxic culture through patterns. People stop asking questions. Employees avoid raising concerns. Mistakes are punished instead of learned from. Managers lead through fear, and performance pressure becomes unhealthy. Another sign is silence. When meetings become quiet, when nobody challenges decisions, when employees agree publicly but disagree privately, that is not alignment. That is fear. And fear is the foundation of toxic culture. Let me share a real-life experience that highlights how culture influences behavior. In one organization where I worked as an HR business partner, there was significant pressure to improve production output. One employee, trying to meet aggressive targets, decided to adjust a machine parameter. But this adjustment bypassed certain safety guidelines. Production improved immediately. Targets were achieved. Nobody questioned the results. But during a routine audit, a senior leader discovered the change. An investigation followed. It was confirmed that the change had been made intentionally to boost performance. The employee was taken through a disciplinary process and eventually dismissed. Now, this is important. This was not just an individual failure. It was a cultural signal. Because when employees believe results matter more than safety, they start making dangerous decisions. Culture drives behavior, and behavior drives outcomes. Toxic cultures don't just affect morale, they affect decisions. Employees begin to hide risks, ignore compliance, take shortcuts, and avoid accountability. Over time, these behaviors accumulate. Small issues become major incidents. Minor shortcuts become systemic failures. Individual decisions become organizational risk. And suddenly, leadership is surprised, but the warning signs were always there. Toxic culture is like a slow leak. It doesn't break the system immediately, but it weakens it over time. A well-known example of toxic culture impact is Uber in 2017. A former engineer publicly described a culture of harassment, lack of accountability, and leadership tolerance of misconduct. The story spread globally. Investigations followed. Senior executives resigned. The CEO stepped down. Uber had to rebuild its culture from scratch. This shows something powerful. Even fast-growing, successful companies can suffer severe damage when toxic culture is ignored. Toxic cultures don't just create internal problems, they create external consequences. Organizations may face lawsuits, regulatory investigations, safety penalties, employee claims, and public backlash. But beyond legal risk, the biggest damage is reputation. Once trust is lost, customers hesitate, talent avoids the organization, and investors lose confidence. Culture is not soft. Culture is strategic. Culture is everyone's responsibility. Leadership sets direction. Managers reinforce behavior. HR designs systems. Employees practice values. But leadership accountability is critical. Because employees don't follow policies, they follow leaders. If leaders tolerate shortcuts, employees will too. If leaders reward integrity, employees will follow. Culture is modeled, not mandated. HR plays a critical role in shaping culture. HR must define expected behaviors, embed ethics into performance reviews, create safe reporting channels, train leaders, and monitor engagement data. HR should not only manage people, HR should shape culture. Leadership must balance results and ethics. Leaders should reward ethical decisions, encourage speaking up, address misconduct quickly, and model integrity consistently. Employees watch what leaders reward, not what they say. Leadership behavior becomes organizational culture. Healthy cultures create trust, engagement, innovation, and sustainable performance. Employees feel safe to raise concerns. Teams collaborate better. Decisions improve. Performance becomes sustainable. Culture is not a soft topic. It is a performance driver. Every decision shapes culture. Every behavior reinforces culture. Every leader influences culture. The question is, are we building a healthy culture or tolerating a toxic one? Because toxic cultures don't just harm employees, they destroy companies. If you want more insights on leadership, ethics, and performance systems, subscribe to this channel. Because strong careers and strong organizations are built on strong culture. If you found this valuable, subscribe for more insights on leadership, productivity, and career success. Because leadership is not just about achieving results. It's about how you achieve them. Remember, effectiveness isn't about doing more. It's about doing what matters. Apply these and watch your life transform. See you in the next video. Monday Thompson is a strategic productivity systems specialist with almost 2 decades of real-world experience helping individuals and organizations move from intention to execution. Here, you'll learn how to build habits, systems, and routines that compound over time the same principles used to drive sustainable performance in high-impact environments. If you're serious about growth, consistency, and long-term success, you're in the right place. Subscribe, comment, like, and share for more. The ones who think they are crazy enough to change the world are the ones who do.